Alright, I just wanted to make this video on just a quick video on trauma and resentment, because I've been having a conversation with a fair few amount of people, and there's been a kind of like a common theme that quite a few people are holding on to resentment. And reason why I specifically want to talk about this is because I've gone through all this shit before, and so I'm talking from experience. And what I found that basically, if you don't get over your resentment and trauma and release all your negative energy, you're going to have a problem with Ascension. At the moment, what's happening, everything's getting pulled out of people. So a lot of people are going through what they call the dark nights of their soul. And what this does, this literally pulls out all these negative traits and all your trauma. So it brings it to the surface, and you've got to face it. And it's so important that you face it. It should be your main priority. Even though there's all this shit going on in the world at the moment, you really should be focusing on your ascension. So the way I beat it, the first thing I did was I asked myself, when you've got resentment towards someone, something, ask yourself, how does it make you feel? All right, and it makes you feel shit. All right. Then question number 2 is, what do I benefit holding on to this resentment? And you benefit absolutely nothing. It doesn't serve you in the slightest. And then question number 3 is, who's in control of holding on to this resentment? And the answer is, you are. So looking at that, why would you want to hold on to resentment and feel shit, and the fact that it doesn't serve you at all? So when you really think about that, you're in complete control of that. Now, some people may say, well, I'm not going to forgive someone who done something to me. Let's say there's a car accident, right? I'm driving, a drunk driver goes into me, smashes into me, and I've got resentment towards that drunk driver, all right? And then I say, well, forgive. And people say, well, it's easy to say that. Why should I forgive them? It's not about forgiving the person. It's about actually, when you forgive, right, forgive the situation and release that resentment, it takes a whole heap of weight off your shoulders. So it's got nothing to do with the other person. It's all got to do with you, because you have to release this resentment if you want to lift in consciousness. If you want to stay in the 3D matrix and suffer, then that's up to you. But when we ascend to 5D consciousness, which is basically bliss, all right, we all have the choice of whether we want to go or not, you have to release all that resentment. And here's another thing. Let's say that drunk driver went into me, and then we automatically think it's the drunk driver's fault. It's actually not. Your higher consciousness has actually chosen for that accident to happen and you be involved in that accident, because your higher consciousness believes you will get the most spiritual growth from going through that experience. See, the only thing soul gives a shit about is spiritual enlightenment. It doesn't give a shit about anything else. So if you're suffering here, then it's all based on your spiritual evolution. All right? So when you start to grasp that as well, you start to really understand that basically everything you've gone through has made you the person who you are today. So that's why it's imperative at the moment you really focus on lifting your vibrations. And the number one thing is to just release trauma, release resentment, and forgive. All right? Because it's all benefiting you, and it's all focusing on this ascension. So that is what you should really be focusing on. Because I've spoken to probably 3 or 4 people, and they're all going through the same thing. So I'm kind of directly speaking to them. But if it benefits anyone else, then my video just cut out. So just getting back to it. I was at the end of it anyway. But another thing was just referring back to one of my older videos, how I said about people going to start dropping off from the poison. So I had some people send me messages and saying, "Oh shit, I've had it. What's going to happen?" Just because you've had it doesn't mean to say anything negative is going to happen. Basically, it's all about vibration and frequency. So the higher you keep your vibration, the less affected the actual poison is going to be. In fact, if you lift your vibrations as high into 4D, it's not even going to affect you anyway. So when I talk about 4D, what is 4D? All right, so 4D is, see, the 3D matrix is basically, it's a very fake world. It's this deception. When you watch the news, it's just basically it's 90% bullshit. All right, but what 4D is, it activates your heart chakra. All right, so with this activation, you will crave knowledge and you'll also crave truth and transparency. So as we start to lift in consciousness, you're going to see a change in the media, because they're obviously going through the shift as well. So eventually, all the bullshit's going to stop, and it's going to start to creep in as it is now. You see, as the truths are starting to come in, but eventually, it's just going to exponentially, and it'll only be truth. That's all they're going to show. And when you activate your heart chakra, you become a lot more compassionate, empathetic. And the world becomes. They start working together. So, for instance, in 4D, you're not going to have, let's say, a country like Africa with kids starving and that, because the world's going to come together and eliminate that type of stuff. And then we're going to go to 5D eventually, which is evidently it's the first time it's ever been done in the universe, which means to sustain a physical body but have 5D consciousness. Because when we have a physical body, it enables us to experience everything a lot more intense. So you can imagine when we're at a higher frequency, we're getting to experience all this bliss extremely intense. So it's unbelievable. We're basically going back right now to how we were originally created. So we're activating our DNA, the so-called junk DNA, which is not junk DNA at all. It was just manipulated to stop activating, to not allow us to fulfill our true potential. But this is all activating now. So our bodies at the moment are actually going from a carbon state to a crystalline state. So that's why this process is going to take quite a considerable amount of time. So, when they talk about the time of purification, for instance, the Hopi Indians said it takes 7 years, and then if you look at the tribulation, that's 7 years. So, is it a coincidence? Probably not. It's probably the same thing. So, we're probably going to look at 7 years of eliminating all these low vibrational people, and then the whole process itself takes around about 40 years, they reckon, to ascend to 5D. What does it actually mean when we ascend to 5D? I'm not 100% sure. So I haven't had anything concrete come in yet, but as soon as I do, I'll make a video and let people know. But yeah, I mean, all I can tell you is pure bliss, basically, and it's living in the now. Yeah, so what you need to do is concentrate on keeping your vibrations high. And how do I mean keeping your vibrations high? What does it mean? It means eating clean, raw foods, fruit and veg, training, turning off the news, looking at positive documentaries, stuff like that, educating yourself. If you like meditation, meditate, getting around nature, and just in general, just being a better person, showing integrity, being honest, help others. That's all it is, really. But yeah, and if I could because I know it's in these times at the moment, it looks pretty bad with all the shit that's going on. But you've really got to understand this is simply a process, and it's a process to wake up as many people as possible. Things are going to get really absurd. They're going to get really ridiculous. Bringing the consensual sexual age down to 12 so a 40-year-old man can have sex with a 12-year-old. I mean, that is just fucking ridiculous. This is the type of shit they're going to bring in. But understand it's a process to wake up the masses, all right? None of this stuff is going to stick. It's just a show you're watching. They're talking about Third World War. It's not going to fucking happen. It's just to keep people in a state of fear. So yeah, disregard all the bloody news. Focus on keeping your vibrations high. I really wish I could show people what I can see, and the future is just fucking awesome. Like, it is wicked. We're going to go through some hard times. Don't get me wrong. There's going to be a speed hump, but there was speed humps. World War II, Vietnam. People went through all that shit, and we're going to have to go through the same shit. That's okay. But after we've got over this speed hump and we've eradicated these lower vibrational people, the world is going to it's going to be amazing. There's nothing to worry about. So be open to change. Surrender to what's coming. Don't put up a wall and try and stop this change, because you're not going to stop it. Trust me, the change is happening now, and it's just going to keep on coming. You're going to have to look at the whole construct of what you believe the world is. You're going to have to break that construct down and rebuild. But when we rebuild, it's going to be coming from a space of oneness rather than separation. So I guarantee the future ahead is going to be awesome. Yet there's a speed bump, a little bit of chaotic times, some earth changes, and the reason why there's earth changes is because, whether you want to believe me or not, but everything I tell you is the truth, right? But the earth was actually rotating the other way in 4D, so we are going to have a pole shift. Yes, there is going to be earth changes. Is it going to get real bad? Well, the coastlines are probably going to struggle. There's probably going to be some places that are going to be reasonably affected, but all that is going to be reduced as much as possible from our brothers and sisters up above. They're doing the best work, and then we've got the ground crew down here trying to enlighten as many masses as possible to assist them in the Ascension. So there's a shitload going on, man. There's a shitload going on. There's a massive team here to assist in the Ascension. So yeah, just keep your vibrations high and focus on yourself, basically, and improving yourself. All right.